Right. We're on.
So, where do we start? What was I going to...
Yeah, where do you want to start?
Where should we start? Let's go...
Do you want to start when I started?
Yes. Let's go back to Cambridge and College, or when Cambridge and College first founded. That'd be a good place to start.
Well, I started running before then.
Right.
I did run a couple of seasons when it was Cambridge City Athletic Club. I started running when I was 58. I used to run round the wreck with a dog.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
And I was then at that age. I was 28.
Right.
So I didn't start. I had run when I was in the Navy.
Yes.
Because one of the things to get young lads who joined up in the 40s was to make sure they were fit.
Right. Yeah.
And
yeah.
I became the only person I couldn't beat was the PTI.
Okay.
But that's not anything much to sort of go by, because the other blokes, lots of them weren't very fit. But anyway, when I got put on board ship, or when I was drafted on board ship, I was then, for the division, I was asked to run in the 800 metres or the 800 yards then.
Yeah. Was that a grass track?
On the grass track of Portland.
Yeah.
And I got no idea what I did because I drank too much beer before I ran. So that was the end of my early athletic career. So between 1948 and 49, that was about all I did.
Right.
And then of course I got married, and then I had got. I'd always been a liking the idea. I thought I could run. Well, in fact, I could because I sort of proved to myself that I could. So I started to take it a little bit more seriously, and did a little bit of sort of running and like what you might call sort of jogging now.
Yeah.
And by the time I was, by the time, how old was I? I was then. When I was 30, I decided that I'd join a club.
Right.
And I joined Cambridge City.
And that's always been on. Is it Mitcham's Corner, isn't it? Cambridge City.
Yes.
Right? Yes.
It used. They used to train on the city football ground. In the summertime.
Right.
And they used to run from. They used to run from the Gilbert Road School or Chesterton School in the winter, and I went down in the winter, and I ran, and there used to be about sort of half a dozen of them. Obviously they used to train twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, up to Mitcham's Corner and back.
Right.
Which is about 4 miles from Gilbert Road School.
Yeah.
And that was all I used to do. And then as I sort of began to improve, I then started to do a bit more and a bit more. And the first race I ran again was a relay on Newmarket Heath.
Oh yeah.
And that started at the bottom of the hill, and of course I ran up the hill, but by the time I got to the top of the hill I was exhausted.
Right.
So I thought, well, this is no good, I've got to sort of take this a bit more seriously.
Okay.
If I'm going to do this. And basically it sort of started then. I don't think I actually then, I didn't then compete, I don't know, anyway I did, and I ran, we used to, I then got to the stage where I could run 4 miles.
Right.
And then on the night before my son Andrew was born, which was in January 1960, I ran my first ever 7 mile. And we ran from Gilbert Road School, through Histon, Girton, back down Huntington Road.
Is that the school opposite here? Just
Yes, the school opposite here.
Ah, okay.
That was it. And then, of course, gradually I used to think, well, I used to think that I could knock minutes off at a time.
Right.
You see, I thought, oh, well, in so many minutes, I will, in so and so, I can knock 5, I can remember saying to him, in 5, you know, if I can knock 5 minutes off of this time, but of course it doesn't work like that, does it, as you know.
Yes.
You have to take some little time. But anyway, I then began to, I then began to improve, and I just used to sort of run with the club, whatever they were doing. If they got a match, we didn't do much in the way of competition. There was a few races they were particular to run in,
Yeah.
but mostly it used to be what they call inter-club cross country, which you just sort of turned up in the middle of a potato field,
Right.
and you'd run whatever it was, and you used to follow the bloke in front, really.
And who would that be against then? That would be Cambridge City against...
They were Cambridge City until 1960, in 1962, and then Coleridge had only got one runner,
Right.
as opposed to a sprinter. That was John Andre,
Okay.
and they got quite a lot of good sprinters, various lads, but they had no administration. George Hibbert had got hardly any administration, so they decided to amalgamate.
Ah.
And they amalgamated in their I don't know when it was, 62, 63, 62, the first annual meeting.
Yeah.
And George Hibbert was one of these sort of blokes, whoever turned up, he was very keen that they should have a job.
Right.
And
okay.
I was elected and not only did you have a job, secretary or whatever you might like to call it, everybody had to have a deputy.
Yeah.
And I was made the deputy treasurer.
Okay.
And I don't know where it came about, but the bloke who was the treasurer decided to resign, and I was left being the treasurer.
Right. Okay.
And I was a treasurer for 16 years, I think.
Okay.
But in the meantime, from a running point of view, I then
Started training.
I then I did improve,
Yeah.
and I virtually I can't remember the exact dates, but at one time I had beaten everybody in the club.
Right.
Some distance or other, in some sort of race, then I would end up either first or whatever, but then they began to draw other people in, and of course, obviously, then I slipped back again, and somehow or other, Bill Spratt persuaded me to do marathon running.
Ah.
And I thought, oh, I can't do it, that's too far. But anyway, it worked out. We went to various races, and I used to sort of train with him on various weekends, and we'd run 20 miles, and I was still living in Chesterton then. One of my favourite runs was from Chesterton High Street,
Yeah.
opposite Walter Lane.
Right.
Used to run from there to the top of 9 Mile Hill to the Stechworth Toll and back again.
Okay.
And I used to do that early in the morning,
Oh, right.
which was quite, when you think now. And gradually, as I said, and then 1960, it went all that long. 1963,
What was your... Yeah.
I was then, I ran my first marathon,
Right, that's what I was going to ask you. When,
which was 2 hours and 50 something or other.
Right.
And then the next year I ran in the Poly and did 2 hours 39. And from then onwards, I started to go downhill again. Because, but because obviously I had got difficulty in keeping up the training.
Yeah, yeah.
For various reasons, the jobs that I did and that type of thing. And then after 16 years, we managed to negotiate with Chris Thorne for Cambridge and Coleridge to use
the Milton Road track.
Oh, so what did they use before Milton?
In the summertime, we used to train around the Cambridge City football ground.
Oh, but they didn't have an athletics track?
No. We used to try sort of various things and try to persuade councils to do various things for us. But
Like a lot even now, you know, they weren't that keen. And in 1963, I can't remember who was the secretary. No, I don't. But anyway, I became secretary, and I was secretary for a good number of years.
So Cambridge College.
The Cambridge and College, I was secretary.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that was 62
Yeah.
that it.
Again, it's no good asking me dates because I can't remember now.
Okay.
I do remember doing it, but I did it for a good number of years.
Right.
I think that the idea being, I'm not quite sure whether it was Bill Spratt or whatever, but somewhere or other, I said, well, if I was going to do that, I couldn't be treasurer.
Okay.
And I don't know who they found for treasurer. I think it must have been Nigel Poulter.
I remember Nigel Poulter.
Remember Nigel Poulter? Yeah,
yes,
he was a good runner.
Yes.
Yes, he used to run well. He was, because he was treasurer for, and Noel Moss did something.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, it more or less sort of developed from there. And I was never very keen on the track side of it. Though I used to run quite a bit on the track.
Right.
I mean, I've done one or two sort of quite reasonable times on the track at various distances. Won a number of county championships, but that was only when Tim Johnson didn't run.
Oh, did you run 15s?
Hmm?
Did you run 1500s and?
No, not serious. Not serious. You know, the fastest I ever ran 1500 was just under 5 minutes.
Right.
I don't even. No, that's not right. No, it was. I once ran a mile in under 5 minutes.
Okay. Yeah.
There was and during it, also before we came up to Milton Road, we used to, not only did we train on the city's football, but we used to train at the Coleridge School. That's right, because I ran under 5 minutes for a mile on a grass track there. That's right, I remember that now.
Okay.
And as I say, I became sort of secretary for a good number of years, and negotiated various sorts of like the business of going on the track and that sort of at Milton Road and various other sort of things. But one of the troubles was, of course, you did it, and then when somebody resigned, you think, well, that's all right. I've got time. I can do that.
You took on.
And I took on a lot of things.
Yeah.
And then I suppose I got sort of fed up with it and decided that I would. Not that I'd been that much interested in veteran running by then, which I was then. I used to go to veteran races, but actually being organised, and I then got involved with EVAC.
EVAC, yeah.
Until, again, the same sort of thing happens, because I used to like doing it. I used to like the organisational side of it to as much as running. Oh, blimey! I more or less ended up by doing everything for EVAC. I was secretary, cross country, road, and I used to like to sort of invent new races, you know, and and that sort of thing. But that went on right until 2008, when Anne died, and then I thought, I've had enough of this.
Okay.
I've virtually ever since the 1960s.
Yeah.
I've been involved
I was involved. I'm not now. I was involved in some sort